I ran in the world championships in 2019 and had to do team processing, which, it's an extensive process as is, but with COVID and the pandemic, there's this whole other protocol and rule book and regimens. So we spent a lot of time in team processing going over all the COVID protocols that we're going to have to do before going over and while we're there.
So let me ask you this, as far as your family's concerned, right? So your entire immediate family, mom, dad, the two brothers, right? They were all able to come out to Eugene for the Olympic trials.
And my sister.
And your sister, okay.
And brother-in-law.
So you've got a big family. And so, but they are not allowed at the actual Olympics in Tokyo. Okay, that answers that question. How are you feeling about that?
A little mixed. I know they would be there in a heartbeat if spectators were allowed. And my dad is still hopeful that that's going to change and that he's going to be able to buy a last minute ticket to Tokyo, which is so sweet. I think this is an Olympics of, you can focus on how it's going to be different, or you can focus on the gratitude that it's actually happening. And I think it's going to be even more beautiful in some ways of signifying that, hopefully the globe as a whole is coming out of the pandemic, and this should be a shining moment of hope and unity, and working through a really challenging time and coming together and shining light on the positive parts of where we're headed. So I'm just really grateful that the Olympics are happening and that I'll get to be a part of them. And I know my family and friends and so many incredible people who have been just amazing with their support will be watching from home, and they'll be with me in spirit. So even if people can't come, it's gonna feel like they're there in a lot of ways. So.
What are you looking forward to when you're in Tokyo? I guess also more specifically, right? Things I'm assuming will be different as far as being able to interact with other athletes, the Olympic Village, and so on and so forth. Have they told you anything about that?
Yeah, I know we'll miss the opening ceremony, so that's kind of sad.
What do you mean?
So the opening ceremony, I believe, is July 23rd, and the earliest we're allowed in is July 25th. So we won't get to do that, which is something I definitely would have looked forward to.
So you're all of Team USA?
At least the track and field athletes, because we don't start until our competition date starts July 30th. And as of right now, there's very strict activity plans for when athletes are allowed over and the COVID protocols. So
you've got to quarantine for a certain number of days if your competition's on the 30th, you've got to quarantine for a certain amount of days, so then you can't participate in activities that happen within that window.
I think so.
Okay.
It's constantly changing a little bit, but it's definitely going to be different than past Olympics in the sense of the freedoms that you have to move around and what you're allowed to do. But I think the things I'm really looking forward to getting over there outside of the competition, because that's obviously kind of the big thing, is just getting to interact with so many different athletes from different places and different sports, and just kind of getting a real sense of that Olympic energy is something I'm really looking forward to.
Have to ask, you've never been to Japan before, right?
I have not. No,
okay.
This will be a first time.
You get to try real authentic sushi. That's great.
Oh my gosh, that's got brought up a few times since I've made it, which I cannot wait, because I love sushi.
Oh, awesome, cool. The past, let's call it year and a half, right? Or 13 months, with COVID and postponing the Olympics. How did that affect either help or hurt, your training and the preparation that went into these Olympics that are now finally happening?
Yeah, we definitely used it for our benefit in terms of, again, focusing on the things that we could control. So it was, I think, mentally hard for everyone to, have to deal with not having the Olympics and even just race opportunities all throughout 2020. But that was totally understandably out of our control, and it was the right decision by the world to postpone these things during that time. And I just, again, tried to focus on the things I could control and using that time to become a better athlete, both physically and mentally. And was fortunate to have had that time, I think, make me stronger. I did go through a little injury, probably because so all of the body work was shut down because couldn't see your physical therapist or massage therapist for a few months, and I think that lack of support kind of led to a little bit of an Achilles tendonitis. So I just kind of funny. Beginning of the pandemic, I had 4 months of some of my best training of my life, and think I made some incredible aerobic and strength gains. And then I went into about a 3 month period where I did almost no running and just tons of cross training as I managed that injury. And then from there, got body work was back, and was able to really kind of dial it in and know that it sounded like the Olympics were going to happen in 2021 and have that target again. And it was sorry, long story short, I think I had a little bit of a roller coaster with physical training, but overall, I think it played to my benefit, both in terms of some physical and mental growth.
Awesome. Okay, good.